Welcome to the Deep Dive by OVTLYR, where we uncover the market's hidden trends and give you the edge you need. Head on over to OVTLYR.com right now to save time, make money, and start winning with less risk today. Now let's jump right in.
All right, so let's dive right into this October jobs report. You know, everyone wants to understand what's really going on here, right? Beyond just those headlines,
yeah, right.
About only 12,000 jobs added.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, is the weakest growth since late 2020. So
it is a surprising number.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah, as we kind of dig into the details, though, you'll see that, looking at sources like CNBC and the Bureau of Labor Statistics, there's more to it than just that one number, right? There are a few things that we can point to that contributed to this.
Okay, so one of the things that the report specifically mentions is Hurricanes Helene and Milton,
right,
as having an impact, especially in the Southeast.
Yeah, that's right. It's always tough to say precisely how much hurricanes affect the job number,
right?
But it's definitely something that you can't ignore, right? Like businesses might have to temporarily close or lay off workers.
For sure.
Which would affect the data.
Yeah. And then, of course, there's the ongoing Boeing strike, which the report says led to a loss of 44,000 manufacturing jobs.
Yeah, that's a big number. And it highlights how even one labor dispute, with a major employer like Boeing can ripple throughout the whole economy.
Yeah.
And especially in manufacturing,
yeah,
which is already kind of sensitive to these kinds of shifts.
Right. So we've got hurricanes and strikes, but what about the performance of specific job sectors?
Yeah.
Looks like manufacturing took a pretty big hit, down 46,000 jobs.
Right.
Which I guess isn't too surprising.
Makes sense.
Given the Boeing situation.
Yeah.
But then temporary help services also saw a drop. 49,000 jobs.
Now that one is something to pay attention to because temporary help services is often seen as an early indicator.
Oh, interesting.
Of broader trends in the economy.
Okay.
So if businesses are hesitant to hire temporary workers, it could signal that they're not very confident about the economy as a whole.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's one to watch.
Interesting. And even leisure and hospitality, which is usually a strong performer, dipped slightly, lost 4,000 jobs. But then on the other hand, healthcare and government actually added jobs, a combined 92,000.
Yeah.
What explains that?
Well, those sectors are less likely to be immediately affected by something like a hurricane or a manufacturing strike.
Okay.
Healthcare especially tends to be more stable no matter what's happening with the economy.
Right. It's like different parts of the economy are reacting to these events in different ways.
Exactly.
Oh, yes. But before we go any further, we have to talk about revisions to the data from previous months.
Yeah.
The report revised job growth for August and September downward. So it's possible the job market was weaker than we thought even before October.
Yeah. This is why it's important to remember that, economic data is always subject to change.
Right.
And we should look at it as a moving target. 1 month's report doesn't tell the whole story. It's about looking at the trends over time.
Okay, so we need to keep the bigger picture in mind.
Exactly.
Now let's talk about wages.
Okay.
Average hourly earnings actually went up slightly in October, 0.4% for the month, which brings the annual increase to 4%.
Yeah, that's good news for workers, but wage growth can be a double-edged sword.
Because of inflation.
Exactly. If wages rise too quickly, they can actually contribute to inflation, which the Fed is trying to control.
Right.
So it's a bit of a balancing act. And this wage growth will probably factor into the Fed's decisions about interest rates in the future.
Okay.
They recently cut rates, but now this week's jobs report might make them reconsider their next move.
And to make things even more interesting, this report comes out just days before the presidential election.
Oh, yeah, the timing.
Yeah.
Voters are definitely paying attention in the economy right now.
So how will this report play into the race between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump? Will voters see this as a sign of trouble, or will those wage increases be more top of mind?
That's the big question, isn't it? We know the economy is a major issue for voters, and this report just adds a whole new layer of complexity to the election.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground already, but this is really just the beginning of our deep dive.
I would say don't jump to conclusions based on a single data point or headline.
Okay.
Remember, economic data is constantly evolving, and 1 month's report doesn't tell the whole story.
Right.
Look at the trends over time, consider the context, do your own research.
So basically stay informed, stay curious, and stay adaptable.
Exactly.
Well, this has been a really fantastic deep dive into the October jobs report. We went beyond the headlines.
You did.
To uncover the key takeaways, the potential implications, and even some opportunities, hidden within the data.
Absolutely. And remember, it's not just about understanding the numbers.
Right.
It's about applying that knowledge to make informed decisions about your life and your finances.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the jobs report.
Thanks for having me.
And until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.
Hey, thanks so much for deep diving with us today. Head on over to OVTLYR.com. That's OVTLYR.com to save time, make money, and start winning with less risk today. And we'll see you next time.